We all love a good puzzle in a game because when we solve it, we feel greatly rewarded, and amongst many things, we feel a bit smarter. However, for every good puzzle in a game, there are many stupid or simply idiotic puzzles that ruin the experience, and here's our list of some of the most absurd puzzles in games. Puzzles in cult classic LucasArts games were tough at times, sure, but overall, there was some logic to them and they were solvable before the dawn of accessible game guides and Google, if you were patient enough, that is. However, the amount of patience one of Full Throttle puzzles demanded of us was just not fair. In one of the puzzles, we had to find a secret entrance to a certain factory, and there was no easy way to solve the seemingly easy task. All we knew was we had to kick a certain crack in the wall to open the secret door, and so many adventure game fans spent countless hours kicking each and every pixel in the wall, hoping that sooner or later they'll find the right one. Upon investigation, we learned that we needed to line our eyesight with a certain crack in the wall, but surprise, that was far from the truth, as the right crack was the last one, furthest to the left, which was much smaller than other cracks. Thanks for the broken toast, Tim Schafer. There are many absurd puzzles in 19th point-and-click adventure games, however one of the most baffling puzzles from that era appeared in one of the first stealth games. That was the case with the Owl puzzle in Metal Gear 2. A few hours into our tour of the Zanzibar facility, we were able to find a lone egg that at first seemed to have no purpose. Later on, we were faced with a seemingly impassable barrier, lasers that were only turned off at night. Yeah, because it's common knowledge that we turn off our security systems before going to bed. Waiting around for the guard to end his shift was futile, and the only way to proceed forward was to use the aforementioned egg. First, we had to walk around with it for a while, and then, when it hatched, we became the owner of a pet owl. Upon receiving the nocturnal bird, all we had to do was approach the lasers, wait for the owl to hoot, which made the guard think it was nighttime, and soon the lasers were shut down. What at times seemed as a perfectly logical puzzle for Hideo Kojima now is widely considered one of the most stupid puzzles in gaming history. Hatching eggs in a Metal Gear? That's probably the reason why Kojima got an award for simply being alive at the recent Game of the Year awards.
I love games.
Phil Fish, the creator of the critically acclaimed indie game Fez, is among many things a hypersensitive egomaniac who loves to tweet mean things to other people. However, he is not a bad game designer. The developer's opus magnum, and so far his only game, Fez, is the proof of that. The game quickly became a hit with its retro-inspired graphics and an original concept, and many are still heartbroken after learning that the sequel got cancelled. What was best about Fez, however, were its puzzles that were greatly satisfying upon completion. One such puzzle, the so-called Black Monolith, was just like that, but despite eventually solving it, the gamers can't quite explain the puzzle itself. Bringing up the monolith was actually quite easy, but there were no clues how to open it, so with trial and error, Fez fans attempted the Herculean task of solving it. It took a while, but some individual got lucky, and it soon became known that you need to stand in a certain spot and press a combination of up, right trigger, up, A, down, left trigger, up, down. It was only then that the real fun had begun, as gamers tried to piece back the pieces together and understand why the puzzle was solvable the way it was. And while there are certain theories about the combination having to do with the game's release date, no one knows exactly why it is that particular combination that opens the monolith. So I guess you just need to get lucky and not think too much about the absurdity of the Black Monolith. What made some of the most elaborate puzzles so, well, puzzling, was often the sequence of using many items in a row that made otherwise no sense whatsoever. Puzzles like that, despite, I hope, the best intentions, ended up being overall hated by gamers. Some of them have even their own Wikipedia pages, like the infamous goat puzzle from Broken Sword, and some make us question our own existence, like the puzzle with bone grinding in Grim Fandango. However, on our number 4 spot, I have to include the duck puzzle from The Longest Journey. On our journey through The Longest Journey, and I know that's a lot of journeys in one sentence, we came across a certain key that was stuck in the train tracks at the metro station. And while at that point in the game our heroine has no means to obtain the key, we can assume that we have to collect something, and after some trial and error, we'll get the key. It turns out, however, that getting the object requires a series of additional puzzles. First, we had to solve a certain puzzle that involved turning around handles and using a gold ring to get clamps. Then we had to put breadcrumbs on a ducky to attract a seagull, which made the abandoned ducky float down the canal. Then we obtained the clamps with another object, obviously, a clothesline to get the ducky, and then we had to deflate the ducky, combine the three, and then use the makeshift device to get the key. Just what? I love the Castlevania series and the so-called Metroidvania subgenre it popularized, but for every good Castlevania, and even the much different releases like the God of War-inspired Lords of Shadow, there is a bad Castlevania game that the series fans want to erase from their memory. Bad Castlevania games sometimes get repetitive, boring, or simply uninspired in comparison to other games in the series. The worst offender is probably the second game in the series, titled Simon's Quest, and it just so happens to feature our list's number 5. The Tornado Red Crystal Cliff puzzle got us so frustrated because of the lack of any reasonable hints to complete it. To proceed to the new location in Simon's Quest, we had to go to the end of the screen in one area, crouch for 10 seconds facing a wall with a red crystal equipped, because logic, to summon a tornado. I have no idea how many attempts it took, but the person who solved it and made the knowledge public deserves a medal at least. The only hint that the great genius who solved the idiotic puzzle had was that he had to bang his head against the cliff. Great, Konami. Lucky for you, you have enough 80s classics to make us forget that frustrating puzzle. Okay, so we started with point-and-click adventure games, and we're gonna end with point-and-click adventure games. It just so happens that our number 6 pick, the most absurd puzzle we ever faced, came from a series that is universally known for being the best in the genre. That series is Monkey Island, and our pick goes to the bank puzzle in Escape from Monkey Island, which was not as good as the first games in the series, to be completely honest. In that puzzle, we need to clean our name and break into a bank which has been robbed. The puzzle seems logical from the start. To get going, we need to get to the prosthesis shop, but there we need to answer correctly to the owner's questions when he's telling us a certain love story. To get the names right, we need to read a note on the sewer's hatch. When we complete the shop owner's riddle, we get artificial skin, we use it on the sewer's hatch and make a trampoline. And tada! You're now bouncing on a trampoline made from human skin, and you can enter a bank, which is disturbing and technically illegal because you're breaking and entering, but, well, who am I to judge the unquestionable genius of LucasArts and their games? Okay, that's it guys, those are our picks for the most absurd and stupid puzzles and games. In case you're complaining that modern games are too easy or too casual for you, I strongly recommend trying some of those titles. And in case we've missed something, let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, as always I'm Jordan, and stay tuned here at GamePressure for more great editorials like this.